Hello, this is Arnold. Ever wonder unsa nang ginahatag ng mga prescription sa doktor through a piece of paper? Actually, ang katong ila ginahatag ng mga prescription is nag-follow sila og guidelines. In this chapter, we'll be talking about those guidelines na gina-follow sa prescription. But before that, let's get to know what is prescription and its legal concepts. So, unsa man din ang prescription? So, prescription represents a summary of diagnosis, prognosis, and treatment of patient's illness. Prescription is also defined as an order of medication written by a physician, dentist, or other licensed medical practitioner, such as optometrist, and given to the patient for presentation to the pharmacist. Okay, so as optometrists, we can actually give prescription as stated by the Republic Act number 8050, where it states that we can actually prescribe and dispense ophthalmic lenses, prisms, contact lenses, and their accessories and solutions. So the bottom point here is that we have the capability to prescribe. So what are the legal concepts of prescription? We have here the doctrine of informed consent. Patient must be aware of the procedures to perform, other alternatives, pro and cons of the procedures, adverse reactions, and benefits they will receive before patients will make informed decision. So simply put, dapat i-inform nato ang patient sa unsay mangyari, kung sakit ba na or dili, or unsabay mga advantage and disadvantage, side effects, and so on. Magkuha kag consent sa imo patient. Then we have the doctrine of respondeat superior, or let the master answer, which it is defined as the superior is responsible for actions committed by subordinates. So in the future baka ha, if na kay clinic as optometrist, and then your subordinate will be the ones that is your assistant, or pwede baka ang optician. So if naa sila'y may buhat nga sipiat, you will held responsible for those actions. Then we have here minors and incompetent in medical decision making. So minors and incompetent are required the informed consent of a parent or guardian when agreeing to any care, treatment, or procedure to be done. So if mga minors or mga incompetent, meaning katong mga maglisod og decide para sa ila selves, so need sila og parent or guardian para mag-decide para sa ila. Okay? So now let's proceed with the parts of typical prescription. Bali ang parts. So first is the prescriber's information. It usually contains the physician's name, dentist, or the other medical expertise here, specialty, clinic address, contact number, and clinic hours. So for this image, the prescriber's information here is kining naa sa taas. Naghatag siya og information sa doctor, which here, for example, si Juan de la Cruz MD, niya naghatag sad siya og information regarding his or her, his rani kay Juan man, clinic schedule. Okay? Naghatag siya og information. And then next, we have the patient's information, where it contains the pertinent information about the patient, such as the name, address, sex, age, weight, and the body surface area, or the BSA. It is sometimes ginakuha depende sa situation sa patient, or when the dosage na ginahatag kay mag-require siya og BSA information. So for this image, mo ni siya ang patient information. Kini siya. Okay? Information about the patient. The next, we have the date. Prescription are dated at the time they are written, and also when they are received and filled in the pharmacy. So sa nga rin na image, makita nga to na ay date na gina-write ni siyas doctor, and there should be date because there are prescriptions that have expiry limit. So, na mga prescription na naay expiration date, okay? Then we have the superscription. Muna siya nga ang RX na to. The RX symbol is a Latin verb for recipe, meaning take thou or you take. Take thou or you take. Historians believe that this symbol originated from the sign of Jupiter, employed by ancients in requesting aid for healing. So, gikan ni siya daw sa sign of Jupiter, okay? Kini, mo ni siya ang superscription nato. Next, we have the inscription. It is the medication prescribed. It is the body or principal, ang pinaka-importante, of the prescription order. So, asa man nga ri ang inscription? Mao ni siya. Ang medication na gina-prescribe. Next, we have the subscription. It is the dispensing directions to the pharmacist. So, directions is para sa pharmacist. It contains directions to the pharmacist for preparing and labeling the prescription, and it usually contains the quantity of the medication to be dispensed. So, for this example, naa diri ang subscription. Mo ni siya. And then this is the quantity ng duha daw ka bottles. Okay, next we have the refill information. So if refill information is not supplied, it is generally assumed that no refills are authorized. So for this example, naa siya information if refill ba siya, yes or no. Next, we have the prescriber's signature and license number. It contains the signature of the prescriber as well as the doctor's license number to practice his profession, PTR number, and sometimes the S2 number. So, ang kining S2 number is commonly ma-find ni siya sa yellow prescriptions, which are used for drugs that can cause drug dependency or addictive. Only doctors with S2 number can prescribe these medications. So for this prescriber signature and license number, makita ni siya na example. Okay? So naa ang signature sa prescriber, sa doctor, the license number, and the PTR number. Then we have here for the yellow prescriptions. Okay? Doctors use a yellow form to prescribe drugs with high abuse potential, such as opioids, for example, the morphine and methadone. So, mo ni siyang ginagamit, yellow prescription, so yellow yung color, or anything na signed by the doctor with the S2 number. Okay? Okay, we're done with the parts of typical prescription. Again, ato tagsa-tagsaon. Let's have here prescriber's information. Next is patient's information. You have the date, superscription, inscription, subscription, refill information, and prescriber signature and license number. We'll proceed now with the classification of medications based on prescription requirement. So first, we have the non-prescription drugs, or also known as the on-the-counter drugs, OTC. So these are pharmaceutical products or drug preparations that can be dispensed even without the written order of a validly registered licensed physician, dentist, or veterinarian, or other medical profession for the use of consumers for the prevention or symptomatic relief of minor or self-limiting ailments. So basically, pwede ra siya mapalit diretso sa pharmacy. These are simpler and safer drugs may be marketed for sale without a prescription. So mga simple and safer drugs ni silang non-prescription drugs. Now let's proceed with the prescription drugs, which are the pharmaceutical products or drug preparations that are to be dispensed only upon the written order of a validly registered physician, dentist, or veterinarian for the management or treatment of a condition or disease. These are the drugs that are deemed to require complex directions regarding their use and can be only purchased with a prescriber's direction, which is inside the prescription. So, for example, we have here the irbesartan approval. So, as you can see here for prescription, naa siya'y RX na nakabutang. So, if naa siya'y RX makabutang ang drug, meaning to say, it requires the prescription. Next, we have the dangerous drug, which are the pharmaceutical products referring to either prohibited or regulated drugs which require a special prescription from usually obtained from the Dangerous Drug Board. So if belong na ang drug sa Dangerous Drug Board, kay considered na siya as dangerous drug. Drugs that are considered to have significant potential for illicit use due to addiction, liability, and other reasons. So, if na siya tendency na maka-pa-addict sa person or patient, then that will be considered as dangerous drug. Kanang mga potential na ma-abuso. So we actually have ranking for the dangerous drug. We have here the Schedule 1. So, ang kining Schedule 1 is mo ni sila ang mga drugs, substances, or chemicals na walay currently accepted medical use and a high potential for abuse. So, in other words, they are the prohibited drugs. Some familiar drugs include the ecstasy, heroin, and marijuana. Muna siyang example sa marijuana. So, they are considered to be Schedule 1 or the prohibited drugs. Next in rank, we have the Schedule 2, which are the drugs, substances, or chemicals that has high potential for abuse with use potentially leading to severe psychological or physical dependence. So, makalead siya og severe na psychological or physical dependence. Some familiar drugs include the cocaine, the morphine, and the methamphetamine, which is also known as the shabu. Next in rank, we have the Schedule 3, which is defined as the drugs, substances, or chemicals with moderate or to low potential for physical and psychological dependence. Bali, compared sa Schedule 2, moderate to low siya. Ang Schedule 2 man kanina is severe siya. If ang severe ang Schedule 2, ang sa Schedule 3 is moderate to low ang iya potential. Some familiar drugs include the ketamine and anabolic steroids. Next in rank, we have the Schedule 4, which are the drugs, substances, or chemicals with low potential for abuse and low risk of dependence. So, mas ubos na siya sa Schedule 3. Some familiar drugs include the Xanax and the lorazepam. And the last schedule is our Schedule 5. These are the drugs, substances, or chemicals that have lower potential for abuse than Schedule 4 and consist of preparations containing limited quantities of certain narcotics. So, kining mga Schedule 5 kay nasa ni siya sa OTC drugs. Muna siya ang OTC drugs. Ang kining mga Schedule 4, need ni siya prescription na. So, sa Schedule 5, some familiar drugs include the cough medicines with codeine. For example, the robitussin and lumotil. Okay? Mga cough medicines with codeine. So here is the comparison of the three drugs in terms of prescription requirement. So, does it require prescription sa OTC kay dili ra? Sa prescribed drugs is need siya, ang sa dangerous need siya og yellow prescription. Sa number of copies, does OTC need? Dili. Sa prescription, does it need? Yes, one. For the dangerous, it needs the registered pharmacist, the medical doctor, and the patient. And what are the ways of identifying na on-the-counter drug siya? So, wala siya RX sign. Ang sa prescription drugs naman, dapat na siya RX sign and additional label of requiring the prescription. Na bakahay nakabutang adto na prescription required, so muna sa prescription drugs. As for the dangerous drugs naman, naagihapoy RX sign and additional label requiring RX and list A. As for the recording required naman, no need ra sa OTC, ang sa prescription drugs, kay need siya isuwat sa prescription book, and for the dangerous drugs, need siya isuwat sa dangerous drug book. And then filling of prescription, no need ra sa OTC. Ang sa prescription is 2 years siya, and then sa dangerous is 1 year. Now let's discuss about the drug development and approval. So there are actually three elements for drug development and approval. We have here testing for safety and efficacy through clinical studies. We have here the preparing and submitting drug and drug-related applications to the FDA through investigational new drug applications or the INDs and new drug applications or the NDAs. And if it is FDA review of IND and NDA submission approved. Okay. We actually have detailed steps for the drug development and approval, which is comprised with the first is the discovery, followed by the preclinical testing. Next is the IND or the investigational new drug application, mag-apply. Then followed by the phase 1, phase 2, and phase 3. Then next is the NDA, followed suit with the FDA review of new drug application. And then lastly is the phase 4. So let's discuss these detailed steps one by one para makabalot ta unsay naaaning nila. So we have here a diagram para natay overview or natay gist para kung unsa ni siya ang drug development and approval. So first is preclinical natay pwede siya in vitro which is here sa mga test tubes baka or sa dishes, Petri dishes, or pwede siya in vivo sa mga live organisms such as kanang mga rabbits baka. So after anang clinical kay magneed pa siya og IND, investigational new drug application. So if ma-approve na siya as IND, so mo undergo na siya og phase 1. So need na ang IND kay para mahibaw-an if okay na siya for human clinical trials. Okay? So for phase 1, 20 to 80 participants. Sa phase 2, undergo na siya phase 2, mas daghan siya karon. So 100 to 300. And for the phase 3, kay katong mga duol-duol na og sakit, kay muna na siyang i-participants. So once na mahuman na siya og phase 3, kay mo undergo na siya og NDA, New Drug Application. So ihatag na siya sa ang NDA sa FDA para magkuha nag-approval. So after ma-confirm ang safety ug effectiveness from the FDA, so na-approve na ang drug. So pwede na siya for marketing. After anang marketing, pwede siya mo undergo pa og phase 4 where there are the 1,000 plus participants or ang mga participants na nagkuha na based from the market. So mga feedbacks na ginakuha. So mo ni siya ang mga steps for drug developmental and approval. So first, mag-talk about ta sa discovery. So from the word itself, discovery, bago pa na-discover, it begins in the laboratory where various scientific applications converge. So it may be na naa sila yung mga old researches na ilagi na continue or mga theories na ilagi na put to test whether if effective ba siya or dili. So next aning discovery, we have the preclinical testing wherein the in laboratory and animal studies is performed to obtain basic toxicologic and pharmacologic information and to assess primary safety and biologic activity. So again, unsa tay difference sa vivo og sa vitro? Sa vivo, from the word vivo, so under living organism siya, whereas sa vitro naman is under the glass siya gina-test. Okay, mura na siyang difference. So after aning preclinical testing na na-assess na nato na naa siya'y safety and biologic activity, maka-proceed na taog sa investigational new drug application. I-apply pa na nimo siya. So, if the drug show a promise in preclinical testing, dira ta maka-apply for IND. IND contain a pharmacologic profile, acute toxicity data in several species of animals using the route of administration proposed for clinical use, okay? So dapat nasa tay ginahatag na route of administration. So kung unsa ninyo pag ah, unsa na route of administration ang ginatest under atong sa in vivo, it may be na sa intraperitoneal baka to ninyo tusok or in other parts, okay? So after aning na-apply na siya for IND, if na-approve na ning IND nato, is maka-undergo na siya og human clinical trials. So first is the phase 1. Studies represent the first use of a new drug in humans. So this is highly exploratory phase of testing because it determines the safety profile and safe dosage range of drugs. So in other words, ang kining phase 1 nato is for safetyness. Iya gina-assess if safe siya for humans. Then we have here phase 2 clinical trials. It shifts its focus from the safety to efficacy. So meaning to say, ang kining phase 2 is more on sa if efficiency. Yeah. Adverse effects or drug toxicity are still a concern, and it usually lasts for 2 to 5 years. Then next is our phase 3, which is considered as the pivotal stage. It involves drug evaluation under conditions more closely resembling to those under which the drug would be used if approved for marketing. So mga duol-duol na. It usually lasts for 2 to 4 years. So bali ang kining phase 3 is evaluation ni siya, which requires for the approval. It requires for approval. Okay? Para ma-approve siya. Next for the phase 3 we have the NDA. So imo na siya gina endorse. So ang kining NDA mo ni siyang vehicle through which a sponsor formally requests FDA approval to market para ma-market na ni siya, need na siya og NDA. Okay? Next ana, if ma-approve na ni ang NDA sa F, kung na siya FDA approval, so maka-undergo na siya og phase 4 clinical trials, which may continue after FDA approval of an NDA. So, a component of post-marketing surveillance activity. So bali ang kining phase 4 clinical trials kay post-marketing surveillance ni siya. So this testing represents an excellent method of gathering more data on safety and efficacy or identifying some competitive health outcome, quality of life, cost benefit, or cost effectiveness advantage for a product. So phase 4 is basically saying that we have a long-term evaluation for the drug. Long-term na ni siya. Kay post-market naman siya. Nya daghan pagid ka og participants, di ba? So, humanata sa upat ka phases. So, as you can see here, na siya'y mnemonic. For phase 1 is for safety, phase 2 is efficacy, phase 3 is for approval, okay? And then for phase 4 is long term. So, bali, it is seal. So, always remember na ang drug development and approval, it requires the seal of approval, wherein it needs safety, efficacy, approval, and long-term evaluation. Okay? And then, this is a table for the types of tests, the purpose, and the subjects. So for phase 1, again, it determines the useful dose range, pharmacokinetics, and minimal toxic effects. So, siya ang pinakagamayan og participants. As for the phase 2, efficacy siya. Iya gina-determine ang efficacy sa drug. And then, mas daghan siya compared sa phase 1 nga participants. And then for phase 3 is for is is for efficacy of the drug on the target disease para dira na diretso ma-approve na if effective ba gyud ni siya na drug para ana na disease. So that is where hundreds to thousands of patients are are being tested. And then lastly, we have the phase 4, which is the surveillance, post-marketing surveillance of toxicities reported during normal use. So sa mga normal people na, dili na siya sa under clinical studies, no? So constitutes monitoring the safety of the new drug under actual conditions of use in large number of patients. Okay? So ang iya subjects kay pa daghan siya, no? So I guess that ends for my discussion regarding the prescription guidelines. And I actually discuss also the drug development and approval, not only the prescription guidelines. So fake ang title. So I really hope that you have learned anything from my discussion regarding this chapter 5. I want to congratulate you for coming this far for this subject, ocular pharmacology. If you find any of my videos helpful, please do consider giving my videos a thumbs up and also consider subscribing to my channel. That would really mean much to me. That would be all. Thank you.